Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back with another brand new video. Today's video we are here to break down, react and discuss the latest and last pre-season game for Rangers Football Club. And as it is the last pre-season game, by the way, if you didn't mind subscribing, if you are new around here, cheap plug, but I have to. Now let's recenter and focus back in on Rangers 2, Coventry 0 and break down this game and break down these performances. And I think from the very first whistle versus Coventry, it started the way we were all expecting it to start, especially considering how well we've been playing and considering Coventry City hasn't played for, what is it, 4 months now in total. They looked very, very rusty and we just absolutely dominated them and went after them for the very first whistle, forcing a couple of defensive mistakes, pushing a lot of people forward and just getting in their face as they took time to adjust to the game. We transfer over to the 6th minute of this game. Barisic, honestly man, this guy is absolutely unreal. He's got two guys on him, he gets away for two of them, he runs, whips a delicious ball driven right into the box. Hadji, who we're starting to see this as a role in his game over pre-season, now that he's got that freedom, he's no stuck away on the right hand side, he can go anywhere he wants, and we've seen it with his goal in the last game with the header versus Motherwell and just his positioning versus Leon and versus Nice. He's got this ability just to late run into the box, and once again it happens with BB, meets it perfectly, smashes it, it looks like it's gone in, but it's once again a very, very good last ditch effort for Coventry to get it cleared as the big boy is there to block it for going in. Now I know Hadji was kind of claiming for a penalty for a brief moment there, but that's never ever a penalty for me, especially when it's Willie Collum that's in charge, ladies and gentlemen, of a Rangers game. Hello Joe Aribo's countless fouls on the guy that never got anything. How are you, Collum? Missed you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, after the first 10 minutes of us just bossing the possession, passing it around, making it look like it was more of a training match rather than a friendly, Coventry actually got in the ball and I think they just killed the complete tempo of the game and were like, let's not rush this, let's not go after Rangers, let's just get on the ball, slow it down and get ourselves into the game. And they actually kept the ball for about 90 seconds and that eventually led to them hitting a long ball in our defence. It sort of ricochets back to their attacker and have a shot from range, which is well and easily saved by Alan McGregor. And I think that little passage of play sort of clicked for Coventry City and they went, alright, now I realise how to play against Rangers, let's not give them the ball because they'll play us off the park, let's slow it down, wait for them to come forward and then try and hit them with a long ball. Counter-attack is very, very reminiscent of what we play week in and week out in Scottish football. It's certainly not pretty, but it's clearly effective versus Rangers. And as much as I was hating the next 15 minutes where literally nothing happened in the game, it was still important for our players to get used to playing against that defensive play style because, again, that is what we're going to be playing 95% of the season. And that leads us perfectly to the 27th minute of the game where Alfredo Morelos does a hell of a lot of good work, not only in getting back and challenging and winning the ball fairly, but he then picks his head up and does a beautiful 1-2 with Ryan Jack, then just hits the ball across the park over to Tavernier, and he doesn't just dilly-dally and he's like, right, I've done my job now, let's let them attack. No, soon as he switches that ball to Tav, he sprints into the box, showing where he wants it. Tavernier delivers it on a sixpence with a beautiful through ball cross, but Alfredo Morelos tries like a Van Persie-esque diving header just at the edge of the box, where I think he maybe, if he was sharper, would have tried to take that down and shoot it. But anyway, from the resulting Van Persie header, it goes a mile wide. The next highlight we're going to speak about is a 2-minute spell where it honestly just sums up why I've got so many grey hairs. Right, Joe Aribo does absolutely magnificent work. Of course he does. It's Joe Aribo. He beats someone. He clearly wins a free kick at the edge of the box. It's a beautiful position, but somehow Willie Collum waves it off, and I don't know what this means. Maybe it's you can kick Rangers players, but anyway, he lets that go, and then honestly, this actually happened. Right, I'm not making this up. From Aribo not getting fouled, they punt the ball up, and the exact same challenge happens between Edmondson and their striker. But it's a foul this time, and then eventually from there they went ahead and won a corner, and from that corner they get a free header, but thankfully they balloon it ere the bar. That 2-minute spell there had a lot of digest and a lot of sareness in the old brain, but again, edging us closer to Scottish football, dealing with these referees and dealing with moments of madness from defending set pieces. But thankfully that chance for Coventry City seemed to wake Rangers Football Club up as we started to pass the ball with a lot more urgency over the next couple of minutes, and that eventually led to Aribo Hadji getting on the ball of course today. The ball eventually finds itself to Alfredo Morelos. He's got Hadji here, he's got Kent there, he's got Barisic there, he's got a defender in front of him. Rightly so, if you're a striker pre-season, you're looking to get your goals again, right? He's hungry for goals. He tries a fake shot and then eventually hits it. It gets blocked once again by the Coventry defender, where he maybe should have passed it, but at the same time, as you always want your centre-forward to be shooting that 9 times out of 10. It's one of the ends where it's frustrating as fans, but when you actually put yourself in his perspective, you understand why he's taking his shot. But the eventual block shot does fall to Glenn Kamara, who does very well to muscle the Coventry player out the way. He passes over to Ryan Jack. Jack tries a wee cheeky curler, which I'm getting bored of saying this already, is deflected at the last minute to stop it from going in. Honestly, I'm sick of Coventry defenders. See if I never see them again. Delighted. But moving away from that frustrating moment that stopped Jacko from getting his first goal of the season, because what we need to speak about next is seconds before half time, the ball did find itself into the back of the net, but it wasn't for Rangers. Nah. Coventry invited Rangers onto them, hit them on the break, getting in behind the defence. It's a good ball in, but it is quite clearly a mile offside, but still the striker is there, takes it first time, buries it past Alan McGregor, but rightfully so, the linesman's there, on task to lift the flag up. I don't think anyone's going to complain at that, especially from the Coventry end. It was a mile offside, it was a well taken finish, but the referee and the linesman get that spot on, and that leads us to half time, 0-0. And you know what, despite me poking fun at it and joking in that online as I always do on social media, I was actually okay with how the first half actually went, because we were getting good and valuable practice versus a team that sets up like 90% of the league. Yes, it was frustrating we didn't take the lead, but we did actually create a chance. If you go back and think about it, it wasn't Rangers struggling to break down and we couldn't break down the defensive side. No, we created a couple of good opportunities that was very well defended. All we were missing, just that little bit of luck for these late deflections that the Coventry defenders were getting, were deflecting them wide, not in to the back of the net. So I was okay with the first half. I wasn't delighted, but again I said, right, we are still creating opportunities. We've just not had that little bit of luck or that clinical edge from our man up top, Alfredo Morelos. But into the second half then, shall we? And there was no wholesome changes or drastic changes to the setup in terms of personnel. As this is the last pre-season game, it was go out there boys, keep building up your fitness and get the breakthrough that you probably deserve after that first 45 minutes. And by God, did Rangers come out of that blocks hot, chasing it. If you actually think about it, it's nearly a carbon copy of how the first half started. Us pinning them in, going after them and playing fast, free-flowing, attacking football. Who was the centre of it all? Joe frickin' Aribo. And that leads us to the 50th minute of this game. He's got the ball, he's driving towards the box. He finds Alfredo Morelos, who does very well to peel away from his defender. Just a nice little touch pass into Aribo. Aribo opens that wand of a left foot in and just smashes it to the bottom frickin' left. Oh, I need a break again, man. Joe Aribo is something, ladies and gentlemen. There's certainly a player in there. We saw it in flashes last season, and now that he's kind of unshackled from the, just always sit back and let the attackers attack. Now that he's one of the guys clearly identified as being one of our attacking threats in the game, coming late in the midfield and supporting Kent and Hadji, he's looking absolutely sensational. And on the appropriate 55th minute on the clock, Joe Aribo again is heavily influential as he gets his head up, invites the pressure and just slips an absolute deliciously scrumptious pass in behind the defence. It's weighted to perfection for Ryan Kent, who gets on it, drives into the box. He then gets his head up as well. He finds Hadji, and then this is the only part of the move that really surprises me on what happens next, because instead of Hadji stopping the ball or even hitting it first time, he tries to take a touch, and the touch actually gets away to him, but the eventual missed touch from Hadji sets up Alfredo Morelos. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen, what happens from Alfredo Morelos' shot in the 55th minute? It gets deflected and blocked by the Coventry defenders. And less than 2 minutes after that deflection, the ball gets played to Hadji, the 57th minute on the clock. Hadji is facing this way. He never looks once behind her, but he somehow does a 360 no look first time pass, spins around, slips Alfredo Morelos through on goal, whose first touch is good, and as he's lining up and he gets his shot away, Coventry defender slides in out of nowhere and deflects it. You guessed it, wide. And I think after the latest deflection, Gerrard had seen enough from the players again resting ahead of next week's game because he went ahead and made a triple substitution, and this is where a lot of the talking points are probably going to be that a lot of people want to discuss in today's video, because Alfredo Morelos is one of the substituted players and he is absolutely bailing that he's come off. He walked straight in and straight down the tunnel, clearly pissed off. Now, before we actually speak about the other two substitutions and continue with the game recap, just to give you my thoughts on this very, very briefly, what's my opinion on Morelos storming off and storming down the tunnel? It's one not surprised, ladies and gentlemen, because we've seen it several times now. In fact, Gerrard and Gary McAllister's laughed at it before. We've laughed at it because even in a game we were cruising to winning, we took Alfredo Morelos off and he was absolutely fuming. Wait, so am I surprised that he's angry on this? No. Am I disappointed that he stormed down the tunnel? A wee bit, if I'm being brutally honest. I mean, you can storm off and be raging and just go and sit alongside your teammates. Going down the tunnel was just a clear indication just how frustrated he is, because you think about it, he is our only fit striker, right? And he isn't off the mark yet. He's not getting back to doing what he loves to do, and that's scoring goals. So it's one of the ends where, am I surprised? No. But am I disappointed? A wee bit in his reaction and going down the tunnel. But let's hope he takes that frustration and he takes that bad boy up to Aberdeen and slaps a couple of goals and shows everyone why he shouldn't be substituted off in a game. But back to the actual game and back to the substitution. The man who actually replaced Morelos, I'd arguably say, continued to change the game, because when Barker came on, he just added a bit of urgency, chasing down everything. And again, he's a guy now, it's sort of playing with confidence, and we're seeing what that looks like. And it is a very, very talented attacking player. But he wasn't the only one who came on. No. Mr. Scotty Arfield came on as well. And so did Big Helander. Now, if you watch this channel, you will all know how delighted I am that we got to see the big Swede get any action. Now, as much as I've talked about wanting to see Helander and how big I think he is, I've got to be honest, he was very nervous when he came on. He certainly was flung into the deep end and tested several times, including within the first 60 seconds, dropped on his arse, and another time somebody ran in behind him and nearly set up a devastating attack. But I think as the game went on, you saw Helander finding his feet in a game, because let's remember, that's his first bit of action now since before January. But as I kind of alluded to there, they did go after Helander when he first came on. They did get beyond him a couple of times, including that one time he got knocked on his arse that eventually led to a very good save from Alan McGregor. So Coventry were starting to grow into the game at this point as well and start to, I wouldn't say put us under like severe pressure, but they were having shots and testing Alan McGregor. But thankfully the big man was there to answer every single test, and that leads us to our next attack in the game, where Barisic whips in a beautiful cross. Stop me if you've heard me say that before. And the cross eventually falls to Tavernier at the back post, who just needs to head it in. But unfortunately, he headers it wide. And collectively, we got to say FS Tav together, and it was beautiful. Oh man, I cannot tell you how much I jumped up thinking he scored. I couldn't wait to tweet it, because you know I'm a Tavernier guy, ladies and gentlemen. And just when he hit it wide, I just went, oh no, Twitter's going to be a nightmare, man. But thankfully, Twitter was able to move on very quickly, because Barker, who we just spoke about, continued to inject that bit of hunger and urgency in his attack, and he does very well to get the ball and then find Ryan Kent, who does a shimmy, who does a fake shot and forces a very, very good save. But unfortunately, their goalkeeper wasn't happy with just that very good save. Less than a minute later, he went ahead and done one of the best saves I've seen in a very, very long time. In fact, since John McLaughlin's save versus Motherwell. But anyway, the ball gets wide to Ryan Kent. He just commits and leaves the defender for dead. When he is on it and when he wants to beat you, he will get beyond his fullback, and he showed it because he just left the boy for dead. He whips in a fantastic cross. Hadji, once again, that late run into the box to the front post, connects with it perfectly. The goalkeeper's diving the other way, but somehow he throws his hand out and stops it for going in. Full credit, I can't take anything away from them there. That was simply brilliance for their goalkeeper, and he done fantastically pretty much the entire day to stop it if it just been the scoreline it was. And you know, it was probably around after that wonder save by their goalkeeper that we all just started to just creep into our minds that this is going to be one of those nippy bum time classic 1-0 Rangers games, is it? Well, in the 67th minute, my moment of the match. If you watch this channel, you'll know how delighted, how much I celebrated this goal, because not only did Tavernier whip in an absolute scream dream of an assist, who got the header on it? Who did it? Big Connor Goldson, centre back number 1. He gets one on target. It's nowhere the bar. After 75 efforts, he charging up his header. He slaps one into the back of the net, and that makes it 2. Oh. And shortly after that, more changes were made for Rangers again to keep them fresh for the next game. Aribo came off, Kent came off, Hadji came off. So did the best fullback in Scottish football, Barisic, also come off the part for Greg Stewart. Well, it was great to see him come on as well, by the way. Your man Jamie Murphy came on, and also so did big Calvin Bassey, who showed his pace as well in the 88th minute, where we had a devastating counter-attack of our own after Coventry City was forcing people forward. They were going after it. Rangers had a beautiful counter-attack led by Greg Stewart, who switches it out to Patterson. Now, I'm going to be honest, right, as that break was happening, Bassey came from inside his own box to just completely explode down that left-hand side. Go back and check the highlight. He's honestly at the box, then I blink, then I open my eyes, and he's at the halfway line. I was like, Jesus, maybe we should have passed to him. But Greg Stewart crosses it over to the other side of the park and passes to Patterson, who shows a wee bit of the pace as well, because I thought he completely messed up that counter-attack. But Patterson turns the afterburner zone, he gets to it, he doesn't panic, he finds the pass into Greg Stewart, who has a shot, and guess what happens for the last time in the game when it's wrong-footed the goalkeeper and it looks like it's rolling in? You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. Dive into the comment section below. A deflected effort, knocking it out for a corner. And before I wrap up and hand the reins over to you guys to get your thoughts and opinions out there on the game, all that's left is for me to pick my man of the match, and I'm going to say the exact same guy as I said 2 days ago on this channel. It has to be, in my personal opinion, Joe frickin' Aribo. And that's it. I am done and dusted for today's video. Now it's time for you guys to get your thoughts and opinions out there, and while you guys are hopefully doing that, I will jump over to Twitter and hear from the people, and I just asked them the exact same question as I asked you. What's your thoughts on the game, and who was your man of the match? The first one in comes from Peter Clark, and he writes in, very impressed with Aribo, Kent and Hadji. Morelos is off the pace and doesn't look interested, would consider selling him for the right money. I know I'm probably going to go against the grain here, Peter, but I actually thought Morelos' build-up play and trying to bring others in looked very, very promising. He's snatching at his chances right now. It's just no fun for him in terms of goals, and I think that's frustrating, because I think, like, if those deflected efforts actually went in and he's putting goals in with the kind of build-up play he's doing, I think we'd be all singing his praising. But because he's not doing the job that strikers are judged on, putting the ball in the back of the net, it looks like he is struggling more than he is. I don't know if that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. I'm probably wrong. I'm sure he will tell me in the comment section below. But Stuart says, better second half, and man of the match, I was Joe Aribo again, Mr. Fita Bix. Quantine Skyline writes in, first time to play the low block and we struggled at times. Players looked fit, sharp and ready. Need to see how our opponents are faring in the league. No goals for Alfie. Let's hope he finds his magic next week. My man of the match though, CJ, was Joe Aribo. Will writes in, personally I think Patterson and Bob Jonas should and could play first team football in the league this season. Great second half from them. Yeah, fun fact, well, you actually reminded me there. I love the last moment of this game was Patterson dropping a body in a friendly, and as the whistle went and the game was over, he walked back to the guy he just broke in half, who was still rolling about the flare, and he just touched him on the shoulder and went, good game, son, and then walked away. I love that. Now, the last 2 or 3 that we'll read out in tonight's video, the first one comes in from True Blue 72, and he writes in, Aribo for me, the performance had a lot of the same issues as last season when we were playing against 10 men behind the ball, but on a positive note, it's another win and another clean sheet. Exactly. Jamie Townsend writes in, slow in the first half, but picked up the pace in the second half. Morelos is a bit slow and disrespectful by him turning for going straight down the tunnel. Definitely think we should sell him if he doesn't seem to be interested and bring in another 2 strikers. Ed writes in, better workout I thought against teams who will actually sit in against us. Will happen most weeks. Very strong starting 11. Aribo man of the match for me. Run close by Connor Goldson. And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video, we'll scroll all the way down here, we'll stop here, and it comes from David White at Soulstorm99, and he writes on, only caught the second half, shout out to the girlfriend for letting me watch on our holidays, happy holiday, and shout out to David White's girlfriend. But Aribo was outstanding, liking the switching tactics and formation. Hadji and Kent switching behind Morelos is very, very effective. Exactly, mate, I have sang the praises on that every single game on recap from the pre-season. I just love everyone's freedom in terms of attacking with Hadji, Aribo and Ryan Kent. It spells for very, very exciting times at this football club. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. I've been CJNova92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.